Wow. Okay. So I just recorded the coolest episode with Samuel Cardillo, who is so many more things than I thought he was. I know him as the CTO of Artifact, which was a very cool NFT sneaker company that was acquired by Nike in 2021. And they started to make both digital and physical sneakers. This is their first sneaker that they made, the CryptoKicks IRL, of which I am a proud owner. But I just knew Sam as the CTO of Artifact. I didn't know much more. And then digging into his background, I actually found out that he had previously been in an intelligence unit in the IDF, and so many really, really cool stuff that I don't want to spoil for you because they just get really, really fun to hear as the episode unravels. So tune in to this episode, enjoy it, listen to the end because there's some really cool surprises in store for you. And make sure to follow Sam on social media. He's on X at Samuel Cardillo. That's SamuelCardillo. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. Have a good one. Welcome to Beyond the Code, the podcast where industry experts and brilliant legal minds discuss the impact of new emerging technologies. I'm your host, Yitzy Hammer, a lawyer and tech enthusiast. Join us as we explore the legal, regulatory, and ethical issues surrounding AI, blockchain, and more. Get ready to go beyond the code and stay ahead of the game. Samuel, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Sorry for the 10,000 time you had to chase me.
I was going to say there's like two kinds of people who come on the pod. Like those who I text them and they're like, great, I'm available tomorrow. And then there are those that I have to literally chase them for months on end. I think we've been dating for like a year and a half at this point.
Very much.
Including me having a layover of a few hours in Dubai and trying to like hack you into meeting me for dinner, to which you did not respond. So I'm happy. I'm happy I finally have you here on the podcast. Very excited to hear about your journey. I think I think you got a pretty cool story.
Thank you.
I don't know how many opportunities you've had to share the full thing, but we like to go deep on Beyond the Code. So why don't you start by just kind of like telling our audience who is Samuel Cardillo, I guess professionally, personally, and give me the long story.
Oh, so I really don't know how to introduce myself, to be honest. So I am me. I'm Samuel Cardillo. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I leverage tech to accomplish visions, to kind of create solutions to problems in a very agnostic way. I don't have like a particular problem I like to solve. I just like to solve problems across every field. And yeah, I mean, I've been starting into that field like since a long time ago. Actually, I started my professional journey, I will say, when I was 9 years old. So very young.
9? Did you say 9?
Yes,
9 years old.
Yes.
Wow.
So very young, actually.
Wait, so you were saying you started hacking when you were 9 years old?
Yeah, actually, hacking is the right. It's the right term, because I started with building and selling computer viruses. So that was not very. I mean, with some
building. Okay, again, building and selling computer viruses, as any 9-year-old does. To be honest, my son, he's 14 now, but like he's got these crazy ideas of how he's gonna make money, and he's always like, oh, we could do this, and it's always something around those lines. But you actually did it. Now,
keep in mind, cybersecurity was a very different game in the past. Okay, it was way simpler, way easier. Like I could not do what I did in the past today. Like it's not possible. Today requires much more understanding and much more experience. With the amount of securities that have been deployed, on different levels of every exploitation systems and stuff like that. In the past, there was really a kid game, to be honest, to hack into things. You just had some understanding, some requirements to understand, and then it was a very easy process. So, I come from a family that sadly was not very, very rich, the kind of poverty level, and my father left the family when I was super young. He didn't die; he just left. Okay, he didn't die. I know it sounds weird that they left the family; they just left the family. And so it was my mom without a job, and my sister and myself, and my mom had to kind of take care of both my sister and myself. And so I I needed a way to make money, and the only thing my dad did kind of well before leaving the family was kind of leaving a computer with the family, so behind him. And that was kind of like when you're dealing with
What year was
I
this?
don't know, years are bad, like
How old are
I
you?
don't know, like my dad left when I was
Now,
I'm
how old are you
29
now? I'm
now,
saying.
so like yeah.
You're 29.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he
Oh,
left the
you're a young
family
guy.
when I was like 5 or 6, something like that. So,
Okay.
and thank you, by the way. I appreciated the compliment. So, I'm going on my 30s, so I'll keep that in mind.
No, I was just judging by your professional career and track record. So I assumed you were older based on everything you've managed to do by
It's
the age of
because I
29.
started very young. That's the only reason yeah,
At 9
exactly.
years
That's
old.
the only reason I kind of and realistically, the atmosphere at home was not the best. Of course, like mom is crying and blah blah blah. Like it's not the best. So like the computer was kind of the way to be outside. Yeah, yeah, escape
Escape.
exactly. Be outside of the real world. And I was playing Red Alert, Command and Conquer Red Alert 1, and it was like very good game.
Affirmative.
Exactly.
I remember those affirmative. Send your army guys.
And it was great. It was
Affirmative.
amazing. It was really such a
Yeah.
Age of Empire one, like all those cool games from the past, and I was loving it. And in the same time, every time I was kind of escaping from like when I was leaving the computer, I was like having to face the real world. So like there's kind of a mix of different things that made me really go deep into computers. And weirdly enough, in Red Alert 1 and Age of Empire, you have like those little ini files that you can change. And if you change those
Yeah.
files, you can change the unit's health. You can make them, like stronger, change the way they. And that made me understand, oh shit, like I can actually modify stuff in a computer. It's cool. Like not only I can escape in this world, I can also
Yeah.
make this world what I want. Like if I want my little infantry to become suddenly like twice bigger and on one shot the military base like from the enemy, I can do it. Like it's cool. And this is kind of how my interest into computer and stuff got in. Like it's such a random way, but this is what it is.
Wow. So then you're all
Yeah,
self-taught. Like from there, you kind of just said, okay, I'm gonna
yeah,
figure out how
yeah.
to do this. And then what? Like, how did you get to selling and creating viruses? Like
So
I guess, like
yeah,
from like chat
exactly.
rooms
Like
or
one
whatever.
thing led to another. So in the past, there was a website called it's in French. It's called Le Site du Zéro, which today doesn't exist
Okay.
anymore, sadly. But it was an amazing website with the foundation level of for learning, basically. So I learned
Okay.
a lot through it. Like very basic stuff, like really base of HTML, base of CSS, just enough for your brain to kind of rewire and to get the logic of like how to write code and how things get in. Like very basic of PHP, and then C and blah blah blah, and then that website had like chat rooms and forums and like people talking about different things. And I initiated multiple projects. They all failed until I met like this guy from Canada who was a over 18, and we started speaking, and he was in cybersecurity, and we just started with like, hey, you know what? Let's do cool stuff.
Did he know you
No.
were 9?
He knew later. Later he knew, and we had like crazy moments because of that. But he knew later. But initially, no, of course not. I didn't ever knew he was over 18. Like we just knew each other username. That's it.
Wow.
And then there was this forum which still exists called Ack Forum. And this is where we started selling the viruses initially, and it started to make money, and it was cool. Like and it was pre crypto, pre everything. So to actually get the money was
How'd you get paid?
oh man, it was
Give me some
but
more
it was
stories.
like PayPal, like a lot of fake PayPal account and fake ID. Like it was crazy. Like the black market was,
Wow.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
black. It was black.
yeah. I can say all of this because there is prescription now. Like we're past the moment where I can get
Wow.
arrested from this. It's okay.
But then you eventually did
Yeah,
get arrested, right?
yeah.
Wait, can you just like position
No,
your,
no,
I'm
no
sorry to
worries.
drive you
Like
crazy, your
this.
face like a little bit more in like the middle of the
Great.
frame.
Actually, I wait. I
Yeah.
can do
Thank you.
this much better. What? There you go. Much better. Okay, cool.
Perfect. Yeah. So then eventually you
I
did
did
get
get
arrested.
arrested when I was 14. I'm not the best.
So 5-year criminal track record of like infecting people's
Yeah, well,
computers and
not
destroying their
only,
lives.
not
Very
only
lucrative.
because the thing is, one thing I understood it was that the people that were buying our stuff, the usage they were doing from it was stealing database, right? Like they're stealing data, and so I was like, okay, cool. So maybe I can do it as well, so I can make more money because I already have the tools.
Move up the
Exactly.
supply chain.
And it was interesting because through the entire journey I learned so much on the business side, not only on the product creation, because you had to build a virus that people could use. The first virus, we get so many feedbacks on how to use it, blah blah blah, then we get, okay, maybe we do a nice user interface for it.
Little
Exactly,
README.
like, and then we had like a system of a Java drive-by. So I don't know if you're familiar with a Java drive-by, what it is. But in the past, you
No.
had like those Java widgets starting on the website, like showing a clock,
Yeah,
and so
sure.
what was going on is that you could infect a computer by
While you were waiting
exactly
for it
like
to
when the
upload,
widget was starting, you could have a code injecting a virus on your computer.
like a
Exactly, and
backdoor.
you had two
Hmm.
types of attack: the one that is normal and the one that uses 0 day, where there is not even a question asked to the user.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had the Java drive-by generator where the users will be able to go on the website, buy a license, a monthly license, and generate their own Java drive-by, and then like do whatever. And they had like a license key. We had a call center that we were renting for people who call and say, "Oh well, my license is not working." Blah blah blah. It was insane. I pushed everything on GitHub. And the whole source code is on GitHub now, and it
Wow.
was insane. So like the amount of business learning I had from 9 to 14 just doing this was insane. And then when I moved towards taking data and selling data, that was a very different thing. It's because suddenly I was talking to other business, to governments even. It's a very different game suddenly. Like, suddenly I have not only like a product for a customer, but the end product kind of things.
Yeah, yeah. You moved to the
Yeah, it
enterprise
was it
version.
was very, very interesting. So yeah.
Wait, so how'd you get caught?
It's very stupid. So we were working on a new botnet. That the goal was like,
Wait, did your mom wonder like
yes,
how, her
yes,
9-year-old
yes.
son and like you and your sister were struggling all of a sudden you're like wearing
I was not wearing.
Rolexes,
Look,
driving
I
out
was
to school
young. I
with a
was young. I
Mercedes.
was just buying video games and giving her money. But I was like, so I was not doing crazy shit. Like I was really the nerd, the basic nerd, long hair, big glasses, not taking
Yeah,
shower. Like I
okay.
was the big nerd, and
Just
in
like
my
in your
room all
room
day.
all
And
day.
actually, yeah, my mom wondered many times. And the thing is, like, it was not well known that you could make money from internet at that time, right? It was very early. So, like,
Hmm.
the amount of theories that came into her mind, like when I was explaining her, she obviously was not understanding and nor believing. And so the amount of time I was coming back from school, and she like would have like checked my whole bedroom to and telling me like, where is the drugs? Like you're
What are you doing in there?
exactly. So like like she really thought I was selling drugs and stuff. So like no, she did wonder at some point. Well, when I got arrested, that's the beauty. It's like she understood that I was telling her the truth from the beginning, and the way I got yeah.
Okay.
The way I got arrested is extremely stupid because what happened is that so we're building a botnet because the goal was that we wanted to give a offensive capability to some of our customers, and we needed a way to test that botnet. And what happened is that the perfect excuse came on because the national, I will say, the national public transport company of Belgium did a strike, and my sister failed her exam, her final exam, because of the strike. And I was like really furious. I saw my sister cry. I was really furious. I was like, you know what? I have the perfect, yeah, I
I'm
have the
going in.
perfect tool I need to try it anyway, so let's do it. And I launched the attack, and the thing is, look, let's be honest. My father left when I was very young, so I grew up with a lot of insecurities, obviously, like, and one of them was the need of affirmation, like, like feeling like someone tell you it's good, like what you did is good, or like, wow. And so when on TV, they say they think it's a Chinese group of hacker. I'm like, no.
You're
Yeah,
like, hell
what
no.
the fuck? It's me. I know
I
the
know
guy.
the
It's
guy.
me. I am the guy. I'm not the Chinese group of hacker. I'm solo. So, like a good idiot, I called the national TV and I say, well, it's me actually. And they come to my house and they record me and they're like, they have the camera behind me. And I'm like, you see, now the website work. And then I press, no, it doesn't work. And basically, I'm doing the crime in front of them. And so obviously at 6 a.m. in the morning, the day after, guess what? The cops are showing up to my house. Surprise!
Surprise,
Exactly. Like,
surprise.
very, very stupid. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, was your elderly partner upset at you for like throwing everything away
No, he
just on like
laughed. He
a
laughed.
vanity move?
He laughed. And anyway, the reality is that,
And what did you get?
yeah,
Because
I
you were
didn't get
underage.
anything. So what happened is like I got a $2,000 fine, which was very low.
Like, what were you making doing this like
Good amount
black
of
market
money, like
stuff?
really good amount of money. We're like very good amount of
Okay.
money. Like we're past the $50,000 per month. Like we're very good per person. Like I said, it was very insane amount of money.
Yeah.
Um,
And you were like in ninth grade
uh,
at the time.
I don't Belgium school system works a bit different, but yeah,
I'm thinking I have a
fair
14-year-old
enough.
son. I'm trying to do like the
But so well, I mean, the thing is, we know that we had some investigation ongoing from FBI and stuff like that already for some of the activities we're doing. So in any case, we would have got caught one way or the other. The way we got caught was actually the best way, to be honest, because a lot of things felt, but not everything. And but we took the decision, after the arrest to kind of stop everything. He got jail time because sadly he was doing other things on the side. One of them was that he was scrapping the dark web, and when you scrap the dark web, you end up with very shitty documents and files on your computer. And obviously, the police in Canada didn't take care of like why did he have this file, and so he got prosecuted for everything, like terrorism, pedophilia, everything, everything.
wow.
He was not into that, okay? Like he was not, but he got years and years and years in jails, and he got released like I think
Wow.
4 or 5 years ago, kind of when I moved to Dubai, and we spoke and we keep speaking now. But he's a very different person. He's a very yeah.
I'm sure.
Uh,
And so you got offered a
yeah, me, I
$2,000 fine.
underage, nothing happened, and the crazy part is that what I understood from what they told me is that basically the national transport company, and that's why it took such a huge toll, is that they were hosted on the same server than other public systems. So when I took out the server, like when I was DDoSing the server, a lot of other systems went out, including the tax system and stuff like that. So the result of the attack were way beyond what I thought it will be.
What you
Yeah,
initially
exactly.
anticipated.
And
Yeah.
so obviously it could have led to more harm than I thought, but thankfully it was not like it didn't last for long. I think I hacked it for like 2 or 3 days. And at the end of the day, it was just a DDoS attack. It's not like a huge thing. Like today, there's like
Yeah.
you can pay services for that.
Easily
It's not a
over.
big
Yeah.
deal. The part I'm proud is that this DDoS attack was running on my own botnet. That part I'm proud of, but the DDoS, who cares? Um, so I had that, but then because I was very cooperative with them, and because it was at the time where they had the anonymous threat, like the anonymous was a big thing. They
Sure.
needed help, and so we had like a nice understanding where I only get those $2,000 fine, but I kind of help them understand the threat and help them talk to people in chat room and so that, because realistically, the Belgian federal computer police over there was not, yeah, they
Didn't
didn't
know what
know,
the hell
like
they were
it's a
doing.
bunch of cops who are very cool, very nice, but they were transferred to that branch that was pretty new, so they were with limited experience, you know what I mean? So for them it was useful, I guess, to have me. I was not paid for that, but at least I had some kind of how do you call it? Redeeming myself, right? Like so yeah.
Wow. So you spent some time helping
Yeah,
them
yeah.
out. And then after high
No,
school,
so after that, I stopped school because obviously, that triggered a lot of conversation with my mom and with my family, and um, kind of an understanding, from everyone. Like even the cops say, like, officially we cannot tell you did well, but like what the fuck, like this, yeah, like.
Like,
So and the chief of the department came and gave me his card and said like at 18, come and join us fully, yeah.
give me a
So
call.
like that triggered some conversation and family side and. I went to do an IQ test. I went to do like a lot of things, and it ended up with like, okay, you don't need school, and you can kind of get out of school because anyway, I was already like not wanting to go to school. So one of the worst day of my life turned out was an amazing day because not only I could finally leave school, but I also had a resume with me, right? Like because whenever I was presenting myself to anyone, I could say, "Well, I'm this guy."
You're like, I hacked the
Yeah,
MTL.
exactly, and they knew, like they knew the whole story because it was everywhere in the newspaper for a while, and it was just things like everyone was speaking about the underage child that like hacked into the national government, so like it was a big thing, and so I got a job very quickly. So even though I was not at school, I had to register under a apprenticeship program to stay legal. So I didn't have to go to school, but I was limited in terms of salary. So I went from making shit tons of money to making yeah, it was like
Nothing
two
as an
hundred
intern.
fifty dollars per month. Like, oh my god. Yeah, and
Oh wow.
that was really bad. And I went to this company, and I hated every day of my life working there. I was like, wow, I'm really not done for this. Going to an office, and it was a web agency, and I was surrounded by developers who spend their life changing the color of a button, and I was like, okay, this is not for me.
Oh
This is
god.
not for me. So I left. I left, and at the same time, I was kind of discovering life. Was discovering life. I was going out. I cut my hair finally. I started to take showers. I started to be a normal human, and I started to party, and I discovered the world of like the nightlife kind of thing. In Belgium, I got very lucky, I guess, because in Belgium, that you're 15, 14, 13, doesn't matter. You can still go to parties. It doesn't matter. Like it's pretty. It's
It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
Israel.
exactly. Like you just party, and so I really liked what I saw. I met the organizer of the party. We spoke. I said, "Well, I have some money left, from my past behavior. So what about we organize something? Like I invest and we organize some things." I started to organize parties with him, and we had a good run. And I started to manage DJs and started to, like doing stuff in the nightlife, and that went well. I made a company out of it. It was called Furious Air Emergency, and it went very well. I ended up like selling it at 17. And then from 17 to 18, I did absolutely nothing. I was just, a kid who made money and is enjoying life. Going from I was living from Barcelona to Ibiza on a yacht that I was renting, and I I was burning money, and I was just like living life and be happy, and I you kind of feel like on the top of the world. You know what I mean? Like you made shit tons of money. You got arrested. When you meet people, you're telling your story, and you're like 17, and people are like, "What the fuck is that? You want to come on my yacht?" Like like it's like an entire fucking
Yeah.
world like that makes no sense, and so you feel like you made it. Like wow, and then the thing is in Belgium, bank accounts are under the supervision, under control of your parents until you're 18. So what happened is that my father, who left the family,
Your
my yeah
strange
my
father.
my my father who left the family, the one who disappeared, reappeared in my life under the shape of a wire to his bank account, and basically taking everything I had. All my current money, my saving money, everything was gone. Yeah,
Oh my
it
god.
was worst day of my life, I will say. Like, and again, not really, because without that, I
Like you hadn't been in
no,
touch
no,
with him,
nothing,
hadn't heard from
nothing.
him,
Like it
anything.
disappeared.
All of a sudden, one day you go into your bank account and
Exactly.
everything's
And not
gone.
only in one day, he decided to do it exactly the day he needed to do it, like at the right time, everything. Like he really calculated very well. And I woke up the day of my 18 years old. Was supposed to be one of the happiest day, like for a kid that's, with nothing. And again, I was renting a yacht that cost shit tons of money. Like I had a huge, a monthly burn rate very high because I was being a kid, burning money left and right. I was not expecting to lose everything from a day to another, but that itself kind of taught me a lot, because I realized a lot of people were around me were not around me for who I am. It just taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, and I was not in the mood of asking my mom financial help, because I gave her the money, and I don't want to ask something back that I gave. I will not feel good with that. So I just sold a lot of things, my bags, all the materialistic shit that I acquired through time. I sold everything, made enough money to do a final payment for the yacht, thanks God. And I was like, okay, what's next? What do I do next, right? I was like in a very bad mood. I was like in a very dark place. I was like, okay, maybe I just kill myself. Like, honestly, like maybe, what the fuck? You just lost everything. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to just do it. I think it would be shit. So like, how do I create value? How do I be useful? Like I die with value. Like, how do I do that? And this is when I decided to join the army.
This whole time I'm trying to think, I'm thinking, because I know that you get to the army, I'm trying to think, what is the segue? At what point do you determine that that's where you're going? I never anticipated this is going to be it.
That's it. This is why I joined the army, man.
Okay.
I was like, okay, at least I die in a useful way. Like,
In
yeah,
style.
I mean, the uniform is kind of shit. Let's be honest. The Madim is absolutely horrible looking. So I will not say in style, but at least useful,
Touche.
So I die like a salad. Very green, but at least useful.
Wow. Well, was that something that you were like thinking about all the time?
No.
I
never.
Like, are you Israeli?
I'm
like,
Jewish from my mom, and things like that. But like, I never. No. Like,
had you been to Israel before that?
Like, I was like, like I was like.
So you're literally just sitting contemplating how I'm going to kill myself in fashion, but not in style, but in fashion, and you're like.
Yeah,
boom,
well,
Jewish army.
I mean, okay,
death,
look, there is another side of it, which was like, my grandparents, like my whole Jewish heritage is a little bit weird. And so my grandparents, like, kind of made our family grow up as Christian until they revealed to our family that we're Jewish because of like whatever,
wow.
World War II, they were hiding, blah, blah, blah. So there was also that weird touch to Israel and the Jewish part of my family.
Wait, I want to just touch on that 1 second. So your grandparents were Jewish during the war.
Their
parents
made them have to be Christian, act like Christian. So, for example, my grandmother always act like she doesn't want to speak about it. So I never had a lot of information from her. My grandfather, who sadly passed away, said a lot of stories, very interesting. Like, for example, they had to cut ties with a lot of my cousins because a part of the family was not sure, like they didn't want it to hide. But my grandfather was part of the family who hid, and same with my grandmother. So there is a lot of Jewish family who had like this kind of separation. It was they were Italian Jewish family.
So they were both living like
in Italy,
Belgium, but one part in Italy, and one part of the family had gone over and were I guess pretending to be Christian, and the other. Wow. And so at what point did they tell these are your mom's parents?
So that's my mom's parents, yeah.
So what point did they tell your mom
I don't really know. I don't really know. I don't really know. I just know that my mom called me Samuel because of that, and I know that a few things like this. I know that my mom religiously is kind of fucked up. Like if you go to her house, she has a picture of the Pope and a Magen David next to it. Like makes no sense. It's like whatever.
Wow. Okay, so that's where your like connection, I guess, to
Israel, like it was also a way of making my grandparents proud.
Because you could have died in like a different army.
Yeah, well, I mean, this one was easy to get in, and also like the fact that
you didn't tell them when you were like where you're going through the drafting process, like you're gonna give me a gun, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't say. No, but like like they like. It was a way also for my grandparents to feel like kind of proud, to show them, like you don't have to be afraid anymore, blah blah blah. Okay. But yeah, this is why I joined the army.
Okay, but then you joined an intelligence unit, and then
you still have the emphasis during like the training and stuff, but then
so that's like
yeah, exactly.
And it's so long that like even if you
You
wanted
can.
to, you
No, but I
couldn't.
was not in that mood. Like if I wanted a gun to kill myself, I could have had even without joining the army. I was just like, at least I do something useful. If I end up on a battlefield and I get shot, well, oops to do. At least
It was for a
exactly.
good cause.
But then there was Tsuketan, and during Tsuketan, I did the application is under attack, which I sold as well. So like we started the application in June 2014. We sold it. Yeah.
You did that? I thought that it was I was in IDC at the time, and I thought that I had spun out of like some students at
No,
IDC
no, no,
because I
no,
remember
no.
they had like a whole war room set
No,
up
it
there.
was
No?
me and a guy called Farid, who is a Muslim guy
Okay.
from Netherlands, and yeah,
Wow.
completely crazy. And the story by itself is crazy, by the way, because when in the press it went out that this was the duo that made the application, he got shut on in the Netherlands by the community that he was surrounded by, and he had to fly to Israel during Suketan to feel safe.
Wow. Wow.
I'm like, what? Like, and
Wow. One second, but before Tsuketan, you
yeah.
came to Israel, you joined like presumably an
Mhm.
intelligence unit. You told them that you had,
Yeah,
this hacking
like during the
history and they're
unit
like, we
selections,
want
I like they
you.
ask, they do the background check, they do a lot of stuff, you do the psychology test, physical test, and they chose for me kind of thing. We did the exam,
Mhm.
everything was cool.
So you probably loved that. Like it was probably
Yeah, it
right up
was
your alley,
perfect. It
whatever
was it
they
was
were giving you to
amazing.
do.
Like it was really cool. I really liked it. I was feeling like I did a good choice in my life. Like so it was. I really liked it. I really liked it. It was nice.
Okay. And so then you spent like
Yeah,
3 years here
correct.
in
Yeah, I mean
Israel,
2 years and 8 months
and
kind of
then
thing. And in the army, and then like it kind of continued because after the army, I moved to Google for a year. So I worked in the Electra Tower for a little bit, and I moved to Google London, and I was still doing like travel here and there. So like 6 months London, 6 months Israel. So kind of spend a longer time in Israel at the
okay.
end of the day by stack of 6 months kind of thing. Um, Israel Under Attack was sold. And so when I sold Israel Under Attack, for not a lot of money, by the way, but still,
Just for the benefit of anybody listening who doesn't know, Israel Under Attack is an app that basically tells you where and when and also counting the amount of missiles that are being fired at Israel from
exactly.
Gaza. It became popular, or I guess it was founded during what was that, the second incursion in
Uh,
Gaza? After Cast led was Tsukitan.
Soketan was
Tsukitan was,
in
or it was
2014
Amudan,
when
and
they came to kidnap the three kids, and yeah.
oh, so that is Cast led, yeah. And I had no idea it was
There you go.
developed by you. So very cool. So then it was sold,
And this is
and
when I understood,
then
like, okay, at the end of the day, I can make money. It doesn't matter. Like, I have a brain. I can make money. It's
right.
fine. I can continue to make money. It's okay. So basically, yeah, that's been up. I ended up at Google. Hated all my life being at Google. Disgusting place. I mean, great company. I don't want to, anyone from Google listening one day. I don't know. It's great. It's just not for me. That's just not for me.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great company. It's just not for me. And so I worked there for a year, and then I started another company. That company was basically doing what I was at 9 years old, but in a legal way this time. We had license, we had everything. Um,
What, like
yeah,
selling
yeah, we're like
malware? Like
offense,
what were you
like
guys doing?
legally offensive kind of tools. Um,
Very cool.
and then we kind of moved into more intelligence things where that was crazy stories as well, where we started to use SS7. I don't know if you are if you know it, but like basically SS7 is to what your phone connect to. It's the global communication network. So
Okay.
we're using that to create tools for phone listening, tap into conversation, things like that. And we had like an entire suite of tools that were made for that. And the story to get access to SS7 to develop the tool was insane. Again, crazy stuff, very movie style kind of things. Um,
Okay. You want to elaborate, or
I,
we're gonna
I
keep
I
it in the gray
don't know.
zone?
So wait, we're 2025. I'm not sure. Look, I can tell you one thing. I can keep some details a little bit blurred. It's just that it
Okay.
required us to become a virtual network operator. But when you become a virtual
Okay.
network operator, you have rules, like you need to sell a certain amount of SIM card, you need to like you have some operation rules. We didn't want that, so we had to not only become a virtual operator network, but we had to kind of,
You also have to
yeah,
bypass
and
the
for that we used
requirements.
some human intelligence to do that. So we became a really good friend with one of the CEO of a telco, known telco in Romania. I can tell it was in Romania, and we had a lot of flights between Israel and Romania to give cash to.
Wow.
And one thing is, the movie Wolf of Wall Street, where they put
Sure.
like the cash on the girl, and we had that. We had like we
Oh
had the
my
girl where we like giving her a lot of cash, not on her body, but like in bags and stuff. And she flew to Romania. We were taking her a hotel next to the airport, and she was like, "This is insane." That's
God. Wow.
crazy.
Wow. And who are you doing that with? Like you say
I don't
we, that
want
was
to
you already
I
had a
don't want
partner
to
at this point.
involve. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I guess on Instagram and stuff you could see, but I don't want them to be, you know.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I mean, and that was very well. It went well, and we also sold this
That's
company as
awesome.
well. So it was cool. In the meantime, I tried to make a perfume company that didn't work. Sadly, didn't. Yeah, very very random. Uh, and then I did Twitch. Started to streaming on Twitch. Then in the
Okay.
mean
Just like
yeah,
gaming, just random
gaming,
gaming.
like just doing stuff. And in the meantime, of all of that, I was doing a lot of side project for fun, like doing some weird shit, like random stuff. And then after Twitch, through Twitch I met Benoit, with who Artifact was made.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So without that, I would never have met him, by the way. So there's, like, it's a crazy.
So what, you guys are just like
Well,
vibing,
no,
gaming
because Benoit
together?
used to work in a company called Fnatic, and Fnatic is a esport team that
Yeah,
playing.
sure. Fnatic that acquired what are they called? Not tops.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Tops.
yeah. I'm not a huge no, like
Yeah.
I don't have a huge knowledge now of what
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing now, but like he used to be the head marketing for Fnatic, and he was based in London, and through Twitch I kind of met him, and like one thing the other. Um, yeah, this is how we came across each other, like completely random, completely random. We
Okay, so but like how did you get from like coming across
Well,
each other
like,
to building
well, I mean,
NFT
it's
sneakers?
it's it's a building relationship. So I was working at Fnatic, and we stayed friend, and like things like this. Me in the same. In the meantime, like I stopped Twitch, started the Shadowbreak, which is the intelligence company I still own right now, and deal with the satellite intelligence. And then one day he called me and he says I was actually in Israel at that moment. I remember the apartment I was in. It was an Airbnb, and he called me and he said, "Well, okay, Sam, I have an idea, but I don't know how to solve it technologically, and I want to involve you." And I said, "Okay, why? Like, what's the idea?" And they said, like, started to speak to me about the very initial kind of idea of Artifact, which was how to authentify assets. Luxury assets to kind of fight the fakeness in the industry. And I would say, well, there is NFT, there is blockchain, there is a lot of things, and this is kind of how I brought technology into the Artifact ID. Artifact had kind of already started without me, though, because Benoit was talking with Chris for the design of the shoes, with Zaptio for the production of the shoes. So like they were already the trio doing everything. I was really the addition that brought the technology side, how to make all of those aspects come together into technology and leverage technology.
You weren't doing like
No, no,
rendering
not
and
me.
stuff like that. You were
Chris
just
was doing
doing
the rendering
okay.
and all the 3D parts and stuff. Me, I was just doing the code and imagining how the technology can be used right now and in the future.
And when was that? Like I was very involved. I mean, still I have been for many years. Very involved in like NFTs and crypto at that time. But I wasn't aware of Artifact until the
Oh, wow.
acquisition, and then obviously, I mean, or it just didn't catch my eye. So like, how long was Artifact running until it was acquired by Nike? in like I guess December
So
21.
Artifact was officially running, I think, for 1 year, 8 months. So it was there. Yeah, it
Okay.
went very
Oh wow. So you
yeah,
guys
very
had like
quick. It
a
was an extremely quick thing. But Artifact existed prior to this, right? Like so, there was like a lot of pivot as an
as an
idea,
idea.
but some product
Hmm.
were created, but for a very limited amount of person, there was a lot of pivot that happened. So it's more a question of like when it was really released from the first NFT project that went out to the acquisition time. That was like between 1 year and 8 months. It's very, I mean, between 8 months and 1 year, more sense. So yeah, very quick.
Wow. Okay. And so like, are you a sneakerhead?
I wasn't. I would not.
Are 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 you?
Yeah, well,
Was the question.
I don't consider myself as one. Like to be honest, like I have shit tons of sneakers now because of Artifact. But I'm not. It's not what I buy. You know, like I rather buy like the helmet of
Yeah.
World of the
Okay.
Lich King than the new sneakers.
I appreciate your honesty. I will tell you that when I became a sneakerhead, when I got more involved in like the crypto
Yeah.
community, just because it's like I feel like the pop culture aspect goes like hand in hand with crypto, and I actually bought an artifact
Oh.
shoe. I've never actually opened it. I actually had to pull it out of my closet
Oh, that's the
for
crypto
the
kicks.
in honor of having the crypto kicks. I've never opened them. Um, my kids make fun of me that I spend so much money on a sneaker that I'm never gonna wear. But I just found the whole thing was such a cool idea. Like I loved watching your journey. From the acquisition and how and everything that came afterward. There's good parts and bad parts of the story. I would love to hear a little bit more from you, like behind the
Yeah.
scenes, what it looked like. But I think there was like so much creativity and innovation there, and it was really a lot of fun to watch.
It was, look, it was between hell and not hell, you know, to work within Artifact for different reasons, pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. You know, like for example, CloneX. You can't even imagine how this project made me. I think I lost health like lifetime from it. Like I think I went.
What, just because of like
Oh no no
accountability
no
to
no no! I'm
users?
talking about building CloneX. And then after that, it's different.
Okay.
But like just building CloneX, the amount of I'm gonna die younger because of this for sure. Like my heart, the amount of stress I had in my heart, like for sure, my own vital organs took a hit. Uh,
Wow. Really, but you had done such cool stuff before
Still,
that. Like, it's not like this was
it was
your
a
first
first
rodeo.
rodeo in terms of look. The problem with NFT, it's like satellites. Once it's in the air, you cannot fix them. It's on the blockchain, and there is no update you can
Right? It's
push.
immutable.
Exactly. The smart contract is there, and one mistakes, and everything goes to boom.
No, but if you have the metadata off-site,
Sure,
you
that's
could
for the
constantly update
metadata,
the
but what about the
metadata. No,
smart contract? So you know, like,
right.
and that's a problem. A
So there's a
lot
lot
of
of pressure
pressure.
just to like do
And
it right
then
the first
you know,
time.
for CloneX, the problem is so Artifact was working very fast. Okay, we're always doing things very very fast. Like I
And you guys weren't
no,
thinking like you were going to
obviously
get
not.
acquired
So
by
like
Nike.
we're
It
just
was
having
just
fun.
like,
So like every day you wake up, Benoit or Chris or whatever comes like with a new idea and boom, like and we do something new and like from one day to another you're like building three things at the same time. It's crazy. And then suddenly it's like, okay, we're gonna make our own NFT profile picture, and it's gonna be cool. And like we start ideating on CloneX. Then like comes Takashi Murakami into it, and like, oh shit, like the stakes came higher. You know, like fuck, now we have Takashi in the mix.
how
I
did
think they
Takashi
just
get
DM'd him,
involved?
and they just yeah. If I recall correctly, they just DM'd
Yeah,
him on Instagram, and they're like,
as one does.
yeah, sliding into DMs work.
Wow.
Okay, so it works. So they slide into his DM. He replied, and apparently there was like a connection made, and he got into the project, and so obviously the stakes go higher because fuck, now we are like we're not just like a bunch of idiots doing NFTs. We now have like this renowned artist with us. You know, like his credibility is at stake as well. You know, if I do a mistake, this guy is gonna take a hit as well. Like fuck, so
Yeah.
it's huge. So obviously the you know there is a bigger problem, and so the thing is from the moment we get the ID to the moment we start having the first render and we start understanding, hey, do we need to do 3D layers or we do 2D layers on top of each other? So we need to do different tests. Chris had to build everything from scratch. Then the whole Takashi Murakami building the trades, then sending that. Chris had to build the trades and sending back to Takashi,
And the
but also
overlays.
sending back to Takashi, wait for validation, blah 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 blah. Insane amount of time. I had to build all the tools for the layering. Now, because we didn't know which path we were taking, building the tools was like fucked up, and there was no AI to help at that time.
Because you had to do the same thing
25 times, but also like not understanding like, because there is a lot of conditions in building a CloneX for which layer goes on top of each other. If there is layer on top, then the other one needs to be a little bit hidden and blah blah blah. And if the eyes are closed, we still need to have a trace for when the eyes are open, because later we'll have 3D files that are attached to it, like, crazy stuff. So this alone, having to build all of that, knowing we're releasing in less than 2 months, actually even less than that, and you're still waiting for all the files, and you have new conditions coming at you every day, and you have to rewrite the whole algorithm like continuously, like, oh my god, it's fucked up.
But I feel like in a way, like that's the easy part, in the sense that like until you launch, you don't have everybody on your back. Once you launch and you have all these holders who are like, I deserve this and I deserve that, and why didn't you get my this? And like I was watching some of the just in the Discord and on Twitter, like people are shit. People are really like very demanding, especially in NFT communities, like and they the way we respond to your post, like they think that they own you, they bought your NFT, and so they bought you basically.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, huh? I know. I know very well, but that I don't care. In an honest way, like I have a resilience on public things. Like I don't care. I could have like the entire world telling me stuff. I don't give a shit. I'm not really dealing with that as a Jew. I really don't give a shit. It's fine. I really will not care less.
Wait, so tell me what it was like when you how did Nike
so
come into the picture?
I don't know
what was
exactly
that like?
how it came into the picture, because it's more Benoit who led like all the talks. And
but one day Benoit wrote on your like
personal
group,
and that was during
you guys and the other founders, like, guys, we're getting bought by Nike,
CloneX stuff,
like,
and the negotiations were happening during the CloneX stuff. And so on top of that, we had CloneX to be successful for making sure that Nike is still interested, right? So like the pressure was kind of mounting every day more and more, and the time frame was reducing, because like waiting for more files, waiting for more conditions, more thing and that. In the same time, I had to build the CloneX website for it to be available, the smart contract as well. So a lot of things. Now, the day of the release, I say like, okay, we need probably a good DDoS protection. And the thing is,
just because you knew a few guys who could do DDoS attacks,
and they say, well, we don't have the budget for this, so like right now, like let's just go with the basics. So we just took Cloudflare, basic Cloudflare, free. And what happened is that the day we launched, everything went down. Everything went down. But before that, I just want to say, before that,
you had your I told you so moment.
But before that, just so you know, so there is 20,000 clones. Okay, we had to generate those 20,000 clones. We had to then go one by one, and it was me, Benoit, on a phone call constantly. Benoit had construction work happening in the street, so we had an insane background noise in the background. And we're watching I was like, okay, I start at 1, I'm going to 5,000. It was like, okay, I start from 5,001, I go to 10,000. And we're like, one by one, to check if there is mistake, duplicates, whatever. You become crazy. I was going to
yeah, for sure. Like, you can't look at them
I was
anymore,
disgusted by clothes. I was like, nah.
Like I get that way when I'm working in a legal agreement for a long time. I'm like, I can't look at this anymore.
And so look, I had the pressure of all of this, doing this. On top of that, you had also to think for the smart contract, because the smart contract was a bit complex. There was the Dutch auction system, there was this and that. And when I code something, I love to do a lot of redundancy. So I was always thinking about the redundancy, and that plays a huge role, because when we released CloneX, and everything went to shit because we had the huge DDoS attack that took down everything. And indeed, the I told you so moment. I had Benoit yelling at me. Zapio be like, "Oh my god, save the situation!" And then people on Discord were like, "Fuck you! Like, what the fuck is this scam?" You know, I was like, "Oh shit!" I puked my ass off while I was coding. I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, so you really did lose
Oh
years
yeah,
of your
no, for
life
real.
there.
I'm not kidding. Like, I'm really not kidding. Like, I really lost lifetime on that, and people don't realize like it was. But it's not only me, Benoit and the team. Like, we all put like so much effort in Clone. It became our life for like 2-3 months. It was we were waking up, living, and going to sleep CloneX. You know what I mean? Like, it was just CloneX. And all the redundancy I've put helped me to kind of mitigate what was going on, because at least when the website went down, I was able to postpone on the contract. Then we came with a different ID than the Dutch auction, and we could implement it directly into the smart contract without having to change smart contract and deploy another one and fuck it up or things like that. So I'm very proud actually of the way I did it. People, I know some people, will still dislike the way it was done, but at the end of the day, it was it's the best outcome that we could have, considering the situation we're in with the DDoS attack. Because else, I think whoever was DDoSing would have been able to just take the floor, and because I think their strategy was to take down the website until the Dutch auction reached the lowest point, and then so yeah, so yeah,
Wow.
that's pretty insane. But after that, wow, it was a great moment of release. Like, okay, cool, CloneX is behind us.
Yeah, and then
And the
the
acquisition as
acquisition,
well.
and it was like tons of PR, and it was probably good fun. Also, no, they fly you out to
Yeah, I mean,
Oregon or whatever.
Nike HQ is not a lot of fun, and Oregon is not a lot of fun either. Like,
But it's an
yeah, I
adventure,
agree.
It's something you
I
didn't
agree. Yeah,
anticipate.
that's true. Yeah, there's positive point there, but it was not like, wow. Like, we're like, okay, this look okay. Like,
Yeah.
but no, the acquisition itself, yeah, obviously everyone is proud, everyone is happy.
And also, like, then NFTs hit their peak
Yeah,
like
yeah,
6 months
yeah.
after that. Like, I remember like the floor was like
Exactly.
20
No, there
ETH at
was a
some
lot of
point.
good
No.
things, and it was great. Even though I think I do believe that I think in a lot of point it was great that Nike acquired Artifact. Let's be honest, but I think it could maybe have be led in a different way if we're not acquired by a corporation.
Yeah, corporation has its own
Disadvantages and plans
plans
and
for
stuff
you
exactly.
guys, and like if your plans were standalone plans, like they might still be relevant. But since you're
Exactly.
somebody
Well, you suddenly
else's,
your numbers matters, right? Like, and a lot of things matter. So, like, obviously, for I understand corporation, like all of them, Adidas, Nike, Gucci, all of them that abandon NFTs and stuff like that, because I understand them. Like, they learn that's
but maybe they
no,
didn't do
it's
it
not
right.
that.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I don't think they did it right, but I don't think the way we saw it was the right way anyway. What I mean by that is, like, no
Right.
corporates that work in fashion want to transform their um, consumer. Oh, you're opening them, huh?
If not
That's
now,
true.
then when?
No, none of those companies want to transform their consumer into wannabe investors, right? You want people to buy the shoes because they like them, not because they're gonna become rich. And so,
So I'm not going to become rich
no,
from these
but you
babies.
have a lot of swag.
And
They're
they're
really
really
nice.
nice
I'm
and
very, very
cool,
happy with all the designs and
and they're
stuff.
a very important
I
piece of
agree as
history
well.
as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. That's why I keep mine.
I really think that this is a piece of like
I agree.
innovation history, like the evolution of blockchain and different use cases. I think NFTs, like one of the most valuable things that they were able to still bring, are like
Yeah.
strong communities. Like, even with the fact that like those community members are pains in the ass, especially for like the CTO, there are some like really positive things that spun out of that, and these gorgeous shoes are just part of them.
I
These
appreciate
crypto
it. I
kicks.
appreciate
So
it. Yeah, thank you. No,
thank you.
thank you. It was very nice to hear.
Yeah. So then what
Then
happened?
what happened was like, wait, where were we? Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Like, I think yeah, makes sense, right? Like I understand the corporate level decision making, that you don't want your community to change. You don't want your fan to become like entitled potential investor and stuff like that. You just want people to,
To like
yeah,
shit because they
exactly,
like
right?
it.
Like to not have like this financial incentive that's constantly there, like and
Where they're looking at the floor price, did it go up
exactly,
or did it go down? Number didn't go up, so then like the announcement wasn't
exactly,
good, even though the
and
announcement
and
might have been
and
interesting and
realistically,
exciting. Like,
like
didn't make the
I,
number
I
go up,
saw it
then
with people I meet, like, oh, you're part of Artifact. So if I buy a shoes right now, like, okay, how much can I make? Like those were the questions. It's like your shoes are cool. Like,
yeah,
how much can I make from it? It's like, that's not the question, man. So,
no,
so
no,
sadly, like, I get it. I understand the question. I do believe that there was a way to kind of continue Artifact without the NFT part or reassessing the way we integrated blockchain. Sadly, it was not part of the plan once the decision was made. So we kind of close the angles and make sure like the community can keep having fun with what they acquired, like and because one of the, I think, biggest, how do you say that in English, the biggest wish of everyone at Artifact, from the lowest level employee to the highest executive and founders, was that everything we worked on continue to live, right? Because we always built everything at Artifact, especially the clones, especially Animus and stuff like that, with a long
with a
term
long-term
view,
view.
and despite things being, like it was out of our realm of capabilities to decide otherwise. Once it's acquired, even like the founders took a lot of shit in their face. They as if like it's not their fault, right? Like at the end of the day, it's not their fault.
Yeah, sure.
So we all really try to do to the good thing, and release the V2 of the files. We open sourced the Project Phoenix, which is the Unreal Engine 5 application, and things like
Hmm.
that. And now I'm working on another thing called Story Mode, but I'm kind of taking a break right now. But it's an unofficial project that allow people to generate their clone with AI and kind of create a story with the clone. So if you have a clone, you select it, detect the NFT, select your clone, and then
I saw like a
yeah,
demo that you
yeah.
made that
So
was
like
really
it's
cool.
coming, but like I also need some break time. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I have the POC now. I
Well
sleep a bit,
deserved.
and also I take advantage that AI is like increasing. It's becoming better every day. So by the time I wake up, the AI will be probably much better, and the
Be able to
exactly. So the product will
exactly.
be better as well. Um,
I saw another Dubai resident, Nusir Yassin,
yeah,
Nas
of
Daily,
course.
and he's making these.
I
He's
know.
back to making like a video a day, and
AI to
he's
like
using
travel in
AI to
time.
like
Yeah,
recreate like
it's
historic.
really cool.
So cool. Um,
Yeah, I really like what he does.
yeah.
But yeah,
Okay, so we touched on an artifact. We didn't get into Shadowbreak all that much. Like I know that you use like GeoInt basically to kind
yeah,
of
basically,
bring
exactly,
satellite
exactly,
imagery and analytics to the
exactly,
masses,
exactly.
right?
Well,
So what I couldn't figure out was like how does that work? Like from a like who are your consumers and how does one like acquire your
so we're
services?
pivoting right now, just so you know. Initially, we're democratizing intelligence, but turn out like realize that democratizing something like this is very hard because
When you say democratize, you mean like making it accessible
exactly,
to the masses,
exactly. And
basically.
today our customers are very like there is a variety. We have obviously governments, but you also have like a real estate company. You have venture capitals. You have so you have VC actually using our service. You have farmers. You have different kind of consumers, including universities and things like that, who are acquiring imagery and analysis to help them do things. So like the case of real estate, it can be
Hmm.
checking remote sites. For VC, they're checking port activities, they're checking parking activities of factories and things like that. Universities, we had like,
But basically, like you've deployed your
mhm.
own satellites, and like now anybody,
Well, we
any
have two set of
potential
tools.
customer of
We have
yours
two
could,
set of tools. One is called
yeah,
ReconLink. The other one
okay,
is StackSide. Now, ReconLink in the current pivot
hmm
is disappearing, but ReconLink was basically a marketplace where this is where most of our customers are, and it's basically you get an account, and then you have this 3D globe. You can just like Google Earth. You can select wherever you want. You click on search, and it shows you all internet, like all the satellite imagery that are available of that part in terms of archive. So like, is it an image from yesterday and before you? And you can just click
Very
buy,
cool.
and you get the image like instant, like 2-3 minutes the time it get pulled off.
So like all those like Telegram and Twitter like
A lot were
OSINT
using
accounts are
our
using.
capabilities for a long time until we kind of closed that. We closed that for a lot of features, but
Feature.
not also we also had to kind of delete some of their accounts, because so our platform was also aggregating data not only from our side but also from partners, so Airbus, Planet, like other companies that have their own satellites and create their own data, and they all have their own terms and conditions, they all have their own user license agreement, and so
And some of these things were like
conflicting, and that's
conflicting.
also why we kind of reconlink is kind of done also because
You're like rethinking that
not
product.
rethinking. We're just leaving it behind, because realistically, even that, like the customer acquisition part, is costing a lot. Like when you go to a farmer, you have to teach him why does he need satellite imagery and which kind of satellite imagery he needs, and but it's
And then you have to teach them how to use it,
yeah.
and like in the end, like the actual like fees that you're getting are probably
Exactly,
not justifying the
exactly.
amount
So
of
like
time you're putting into it and
it's a lot. So
resources.
like Recon Link is disappearing, and it's on sale, by the way. If someone want to buy the source code, it's there. But now the tech site is the new focus, and tech site is gonna completely change. Tech site is a tactical site, and it's a data
Hmm.
aggregator. Yeah,
I got
right.
that much.
The name should sell itself. But basically, the idea there, it's being used already by some journalists and by some governments. And the idea is basically to be an aggregator of data that already exists. So you can bring flight path. You can bring satellite imagery, drone imagery, whatever. We're integrated the AI. We're very much. I don't know if you obviously know Palantir, and Palantir has the AIP, the AI platform, which is very tactical for
Hmm.
on the ground
Sure.
use. We're more the non on the ground use. We're more the intelligence analyst kind of part. So, for example, when you show like
Hmm.
a satellite imagery, you layer it on the on the ground, and then the AI will say, well, I detect this pens here, which is the air defense system, and then it'll draw your the radar around the pens here, and show, and you can start doing like a test, like how the flight comes in, like if there is a plane coming in, like will it be detected there, and blah blah blah. So you can do and reenact a lot of scenarios or create more scenarios and blah blah blah. So it's a very different kind of game, yeah.
Very cool.
um Obviously the satellite imagery are still being used there to kind of a pipeline to put into the data aggregator directly,
Tech site.
but
Hmm.
the democratizing is gone. Like we're pivoting from that because it's juice pain.
Time to ring
Yeah,
around.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Very, very cool. And when I reached out to you asking you to join me for an episode, you told me that you had actually created the MVP for Riverside,
Yeah,
whose
yeah,
platform we're
this is
using to record
crazy.
right now. Like,
This is
how did that
crazy.
happen?
I met the two guys, Gideon and Nadav. I met them years and years and years ago at the embassy. It was a party of the ambassador, the Israeli ambassador in the Netherlands. It was in Amsterdam. And I met
Okay.
them and we spoke, and I said, well, we have this project, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of helped them with a friend of mine, Costa, and it was the first iteration of Riverside. It was not even called Riverside. And then I'll be honest, and by the way, Nadav, Gideon, if you ever watch this, I'm sorry, I didn't believe in the future of the project, so I kind of stepped out. Turned out these things became
And
huge.
here you
Exactly,
are.
like what the fuck. But also, they're amazing. Like the brothers are amazing, and at the time we're like doing the POC, I mean the MVP. One of the brother was taking courses to become the CTO himself and start learning. And so then when I left, he kind of started coding himself and doing the whole thing himself until they raised money.
Wait, so Nadav and Gideon
Yeah,
are brothers?
the is
They're the
the
co-founders. I'm just
No,
a
no,
user.
they're
I don't actually
brothers.
know them.
It's the Kayson brothers,
Okay,
the
cool.
Kayson brothers. So they have a third
Very
brother,
cool.
which I think didn't join the adventure. I'm not sure, but yeah, there are three brothers, and you
Very,
know,
very
like
cool.
there's a lot of things. Yeah,
Great product, as you could see.
yeah. Well, I missed out on this. I didn't.
Kudos to whoever developed the MVP, though.
Thank you. Well, I mean, you know, it was useful for them. I'm happy, but they really took the product to another level, and it's pretty insane to see that. But also, it's fun because, you know, again, in the journey from my 9 years old to today, I came across a lot of people. I came across a lot of projects. Sometimes I was not involved. Sometimes I was, and seeing a lot of things like on my day to day when I'm just using internet, and I realize, hey, I was part of this. I know the guy who did that. It's cool. It's really cool, you know, like,
It's
so
very
I'm very
cool. It's
happy.
very cool. No, you got a great story, and I appreciate you sharing it with me. What I got one last question. Your
Yeah.
LinkedIn profile, you seem to have you've scrapped all of your artifact clone PFPs, and now I mean, you live in Dubai, but you have an American flag behind you, and you look like you're in some kind of official capacity. I'm trying to figure out, like, I couldn't
So
pinpoint that
let
part.
me explain you. I have I'm a reserve in the sheriff department of LA.
What? Let's just repeat that. You said you're a reserve in the sheriff's department
Yes,
of LA.
LASD, and so
Of course you are.
and so
How did
well,
that
as a
happen?
non-resident, you can just become a reserve. You just need a work visa. So and you do like a few months of academies. You know, I'm still a huge gamer. I play GTA 5 a lot. So I was like, okay, I want to play GTA in real life. And also, I kind of want something else than just being on my computer. So it feels good to have some action on the ground and stuff like that. So
So you joined the IDF because you wanted to have like a creative suicide, and you joined the LAPD Sheriff's
LASD.
Office because you wanted LASD Sheriff's Office because you wanted to play GTA
Yes.
in real life.
Well, I mean, say it like
Makes
this
sense.
sounds like a
Perfect
bad
sense.
cop, but I do well.
Okay, and so what do you do for
You do
them?
patrols. You do the
But
no,
you
but
live in
I go
Dubai.
to LA quite often. Yeah.
Okay. So they just call you up. They're like,
No,
"Hey, we
no,
need you
no,
to
no,
fly
no,
in
no,
to
no, no,
patrol the
no, no.
streets
Like
of." You put on your
exactly,
uniform,
a little bit like
and
Superman, you
you
know.
oh,
I brought actually some capabilities from my contacts because the LASD needed drones, so I brought like some free drones for the LASD to use with a FLIR camera and stuff like that. So I raised some money for them. I also donate money myself. I was their what do you call that? The main sponsor of their last golf event they had, which is very random. I don't even play golf, so very
super
random.
random. Let me ask you a question, and I don't mean this in like I don't mean to be rude, but like, why not join the IDF reserves? Like, we need everybody we can get post October
I'll
7th.
I'll tell you
I'm on my 600 and something reserve day over the
I'll tell
last
you
2
straight
years.
away, and I you know it's I've been very public about this. Look, I despise the current government to the highest level. First of all, I
Okay.
think that since 2014, by the way, and I think we keep repeating that. I think we keep repeating starting war without any strategical logic, without any defined goals. I think we keep losing people on both sides for absolutely no reasons. I do believe that, you know, for example, let's take Iran for example, because that's the most recent situation that happened. What the fuck? Like what did we do? Nothing. Nothing happened. We lost Israelis. We lost Iranians.
I wouldn't say
I
we
promise you
didn't do
nothing
anything. I
happened
mean,
because we did a setback. We reinforced the IRGC because now the people, the Iranian anti-regime, and I know many because a lot of them flew to Dubai many times, and I know many, and I have great conversation with them. They finally believe that a regime change could happen, and suddenly they feel very betrayed right now because from a day to another, everything changed again. But the difference is now they were very vocal, and they're all being killed again by the regime. The regime is reinforcing itself. Now, they will not believe us again, those anti-regime people, once it will happen. And it will happen again because it's just the nuclear program is just set back. It's not finished. It's like if you, I hate taking World War II as an example, but it's like if you go into to Berlin you destroy a lot of Nazi Germany capabilities, but when it comes to killing Hitler and destroying the Third Reich, you say, well, ceasefire, see you bye. You don't do that. You go to the end. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do that, you leave the people in power at the helm. They're just gonna, not only they're more hungry for revenge, but
But why are you so critical of the Israeli government? Why not of the United States government, who seems
I
to have been
am,
pulling the
of course,
strings
I
when it
am.
comes to like when
I
things would
am, of
end? And
course, but I'm not joining I've not served in the U.S. Army, and at the end of the day, my country is not the U.S.
sheriff's
It's not the
office.
same. It's not the same. No, but like my family is in Israel, and I care more about. At the end of the day, I'm more about Israel, right? Like because I do have family in Israel. At the end of the day, like I reconnected to a lot of people from my family tree by being there, and so and my heart and my home at the end, of the day as a Jew is there. So I do care more, and the Israeli government to me right now with Netanyahu and stuff, I think is a terrible government. I think they keep doing the same mistake of those things where we lose soldiers and we lose civilians and we lose a lot of things for absolutely no reason. We just set things back. Like in Suketan, they made us enter Gaza to blow up 3 tunnels and get out, and nothing was happened. But at least you could have like some PR and say, oh, we blew up some tunnels and stuff like that. And 1 year later, the tunnels were built.
Yeah. So what do you think? No, I totally I share your frustration. I mean, I've been on the Gaza front for almost 2 years now straight, and uh, it very much feels like we're lacking direction. So what needs to be done in Gaza?
If I knew, if I knew, I don't know. But that is it my job to know? I think it's their job to know me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
but I'm
I'll tell you
asking
one thing that should happen.
as a
As a
concerned
concerned
individual.
individual who is very close to the UAE government, I can tell you something that's huge: is that all our allies, people who share the same enemies than us, the Muslim Brotherhood and things like that, they sadly cannot work with us because the all interaction that happened with Netanyahu were absolutely horrible. The Most of the governments from the Abraham Accord are extremely happy with Israel, but they hate Netanyahu. I had amazing talk with ambassadors from different countries of the Abraham Accords. I flew multiple times in Saudi Arabia to meet some politician there, and they flew me there. It's like and things like that. I got involved in a political way for a little bit at the beginning of post 7 October because I wanted to know, if things were safe also for me in the Middle East, of course, right? I'm not living in Israel. I'm living in the UAE. So I wanted to know when it'd be safe. So I kind of, took part of things, and I'm very close to royal family because, again, maybe not known, but I used to be married with a princess over here of the UAE.
How do we? Whoa! I was already thinking how when I sum you up at the end, I'm gonna say like you had a really cool life story, but definitely the weirdest thing is that you joined the reserves of the LA Sheriff's Office. You were married to a princess in the
Yes,
Emirates.
she was Jew. I
Okay.
mean, she is. She's still alive.
Please elaborate.
She's Jewish from her mother,
Wait.
and she's a Muslim from her father. Yeah.
And she's a princess in the Emirates. Who's
her
her
father
father?
is one of the sheikh of Amal Quwain, which is a little Emirates on top of Dubai,
Okay.
and her mother is a Iraqi Jew. So pretty crazy.
Okay. And you were married
by
to her?
protocol.
When was this?
5 years ago.
By protocol? What does that mean? Like
yeah,
a civil marriage?
We had to be married to live together, basically. So it was like more.
Like she was your girlfriend, you were living together, and then they told you like
we're
you need
living
to get
together
married.
in London.
So you got like
exactly. We're living together in London, and when came the Abraham Accord and stuff.
You failed to mention that you were living in London.
Yeah, I told you.
Where
I
did that
told
fit
you I
in the
was
story?
working for Google in London. Yeah,
post Google. Okay, your second half of Google, and then you met a princess, and you wanted to live with her, but her dad said, "No, you need to be married." So you guys got married, and then you found out that her dad was.
Well, okay, wait. So no, initially I didn't know she was a princess. She told me she was like she lived in.
Just a normal girl.
Yes and no, because I met her while taking a private jet. She was waiting a private jet as well, so I know she had wealth. I know she was not a normal girl. I know she had wealth. But she told me her family owned like how do you call that, shopping centers and something like that in Germany, like crazy stories, like and make who cares, like who gives a shit. Like okay, but then when the Brexit happened and the Abraham Accords happened, kind of same time, right? She told me like, hey, Abraham Accords is gonna happen. I said, how do I care? what's the point? Like, why do you tell me this? I'm like, well, if you search my family name on Google, you will find that I'm not a shopping mall owner. I own all the things. And so I realized,
Oh wow.
I'm trying to put it in a nutshell to explain you very quickly, but obviously
Okay.
it's a bit more complex than that, but not so much, to be honest. And then when we moved to the UAE, I had to live alone. I was living in a little apartment, and she was living in the palace. And then we're like, okay, how do we live together again? And obviously, protocol had to be applied. We have to be married and stuff like that. So I was married to her for a little bit, and that obviously connected me with people here with who I'm still in touch even post divorce. and
So cool.
uh, and so yeah, like I've met, that in the UAE, I'm one of the person who've been to every meetings when the Israeli government come, and they never understand why the fuck I'm here, because I'm dressed as a UAE national when I go to those meetings. I'm with the royal family of UAE,
Okay.
so they think I'm Emirati, and then I say shalom. קוראים לי שמואל. I was like, what? And they was like, what? אני יהודי. I was like, what? And so I had Abir Kara, the former
Beer Kara, sure.
we
Yeah.
had obviously Benny Gantz coming. We had recently I met the ex ambassador Amir. Now the new ambassador, I forgot his name. I really don't like him. We had the Ministry of Economy coming in as well. I met him multiple times, the current one. And actually, I have a message on WhatsApp of one of the prince who had to meet him, and he sent me the PDF of the guy and said, "Should I meet this guy?" And so I did the explanation. So it's a very weird, it's a very weird situation to be in,
Wow.
but very funny. And
Wow.
and so to come
Okay.
back to the question, realistically, what we should do is, like, we should learn how to work with our allies because we share the same enemy. You know,
I'm
it,
in
it,
total agreement with you there.
it's not a situation Israel can solve itself, and sadly, the prime minister we have right now cannot do that. He's not in a position where he has the ability at the international level. Realistically, Evan, not only everyone hate him, but the UAE and Saudi and so like that, they like people who stand by their word. If I tell you tomorrow I will do this, means tomorrow I will do this. Problem is Netanyahu doesn't do that. He say you I will do.
No
Yeah, they're
politicians do
not
that.
used to it, right? They don't. And so the amount of time there was huge fights that people don't know about between Netanyahu and other leaders, all the Abraham Accords, because he put so much stress on the Accords themselves, and we're very lucky because they love us. They really love us. When I'm telling you they love us, like, the Abraham Accord countries really love us, and countries outside of the Abraham Accords also love us. Some countries, I will not mention the names of those countries, they will join by themselves very soon, but they really love us. I had crazy conversation with government officials from different countries. Some are very near the border of Israel, like literally at the border, and they love us. They're just waiting for the right moment, and the only thing that stops them is Netanyahu. And I know that the moment we either solve that, or solve the what stopped Netanyahu from destroying the enemy, because one of the main thing of why he keep the enemy alive is because he wants to stay himself in the position. It's very important for him that they still exist. Um, but if that is ever solved, then we can leverage the existence of our alliance, and solve that very quickly. We were never meant to have Gaza. We were supposed to give it back to Egypt. Egypt refused us to give it back. If you remember history, right? Like, we took, we gave back Sinai. We wanted to give back Gaza. Egypt didn't want Gaza back, so we had Gaza. But it's never meant from the beginning. We never wanted it. So it's time someone else take control over it. I think the Emirates and other country can take control over it. They're willing to, but there is one piece that needs to fall.
Which leaves you with the same challenge of, like, what do you do with Hamas? Because in any event, like Egypt, Jordan, Israel, America,
I'll
it
tell
doesn't
you.
matter.
I'll tell
Whoever
you.
is in control and takes responsibility, you have
They'll
to deal
tell
with
you.
Hamas.
It's very simple. That's the thing. We think it's huge and it's very important. It's not huge. It's not complex. Muslim countries have been fighting extremism and radical ideology for years. They have a tremendous experience how to deal with that. Few days ago, the UAE arrested and executed 84 people from the Muslim Brotherhood. They were ties with Hamas. They don't wait. Even in Israel, we don't have death penalty
Right.
for terrorists.
They don't have to worry about PC.
Like, like just to think about it, like we don't have death penalty for terrorists in Israel. What the hell? Imagine I was debating this morning with the company I'm advising, the Israeli company, and we're talking about like imagine if not only we have death penalty for terrorists, but also every time a terrorist die, we take their organs and we give it back to exactly. And now think a terrorist will think twice. Shit, I'm gonna kill someone, but I'm gonna save other people. Huge. But we don't do that. Muslim country, they don't care. They do it. They can do whatever. They have, like they control what is said in the mosque in the UAE, for example. A imam cannot say everything he wants. You have to abide by what the government is telling him to say. He has a specific things he can tell. If he goes out of it, then he's considered as a potential radical ideologist, and then he would be treated as such. They understand how radical ideology and extremists can come and how the religion can be twisted for it. So they understand how to treat the people from Hamas because they've been dealing with them for years and years and years at very different level. So if they have control, they know how to do
very
it.
Interesting.
And they will not need to be PC. No one is going to write plenty of articles about how they're going to treat Hamas members if it's not Israel doing it. You know what I mean? So, so it's yeah.
Very interesting. Samuel or Shmuel,
Shmulik, if you want to do Yiddish.
Shmulik. Thank you so much. This was incredibly engaging, exciting, surprising. Even with the princess narrative, I still think the weirdest part of your story is the LA Sheriff reserve duty. I'm not going to let you live that one down. But really, truly a fascinating story. And thank you for sharing with me and for opening up to our audience. I really appreciate it. If anybody wants to follow you and, find out more about all the really cool stuff that you're doing and building, where are you most active?
On X.
I know you're on LinkedIn, you're on X, and you're on Instagram. So X is the way to go.
Where,
and it's just your name. It's SamuelCardillo.
Yeah, Samuel Cardillo. But on X is where I post a lot of whatever come in my mind, and Instagram is where I do a lot of political analysis. I do a lot of last minute stories where I explain stuff.
Anti-Netanyahu stuff.
Realistic stuff. I would not say anti, just realistic.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
So yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much. And if you come back to Dubai again, just send me a message. I will reply.
Thank you for listening to Beyond the Code. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, share with your friends, and to tune in again next week for more fun and insightful conversation.